Start with usual prayers. This is project this. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaurabhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. On February 29th, it was appearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So we want to say a few words about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then we'll go to the today's class, which will be on how to surrender to Krishna. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was also known as the Lion Guru. Because of his preaching was very strong, that's why he was really known as Lion Guru. Let's see if we can get a picture of him. This is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So his father, who was Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he was into preaching and so on, and he was really disappointed because people were not interested in the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was really very sad in his heart to see this, and with a desire to present the actual teachings of Sri Chaitanya, he wrote and published many books in Sanskrit language, English language, and Bengali language. And slowly and gradually people started reading those books and they got interested. He thought that what will happen after I leave this material world? Who is going to continue? So he prayed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And his prayer was that please send me an assistant and a successor from your staff, from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's staff. So this was a very sincere prayer. We have heard about prayers. You can pray for material gain, or you can also pray for spiritual enlightenment. So in this case, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, this is Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He is father of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he prayed to Lord Chaitanya that he is really afraid that this movement will not go on once I leave this material world, so please send me a successor or an assistant. And to answer, the prayer was answered by Lord Chaitanya, and a son was born on February 6th, 1874. They named him as Bimala Prasad, who later became Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So, how do we know that this was the assistant or the successor that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent? How do we know that? So there were some signs. First of all was that when the child came out of the womb, his umbilical cord was wrapped around him like the sacred thread worn by Brahmanas. So this was one of the indications. Everyone was very amazed by this sign, and then some more sign came later on. After 6 months, there was a Rath Yatra, and they were living in Jagannath Puri. So the Rath Yatra came and stopped at the house of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Even though so many hundreds of people were pushing the cart, pulling the cart would not move. It just stood there, stopped. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur's wife, she took this chance and got Bimala, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, the little 6-month-old child, to get darshan of Jagannath. And so she climbed on the Rath. Now, nobody is allowed to climb on the Rath when there is Rath Yatra going on. But because they know that she is wife of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was in charge of the temple there, so they allowed her. And as soon as she put the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati at the feet of Lord Jagannath, a garland fell from the neck of Jagannath, and it wrapped around Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati or Bimala Prabhu. Bimala. So this was another sign for Thakur Bhaktivinoda that this must be the chosen person. So he was filled with joy, for he knew beyond all doubt that the child was the answer to his prayers. And so the boy grew up, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, slowly and gradually. At the age of 7, he studied all the slokas of Bhagavad Gita, and he memorized them. And he could also explain the meaning of each and every verse. One can memorize, but one is not able to explain. But he was able to explain at age 7. He was just 7-year-old. One time, what happened was that in the deity room, they kept all the bhogas to be offered to the deities, and there were some mangoes. So little Bimala took a mango and ate it. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his father, saw that he ate the mango, and he told him that this is not the proper thing to do. You should not eat unless the bhog is offered. And so these words really impressed the little Bimala, and he made a vow in front of his father. He made a vow to Bhaktivinoda Thakur that he would never eat mango again. Now this is a 7-year-old child making a vow that he will never eat mango again. And all of us, we know how the 7-year-old behave. Do we really take those words seriously? And Bhaktivinoda Thakur really took that to his heart, and he never ate a mango all his life. Many a time people would offer him mangoes, and he would say that, "No, I cannot take. I am an offender. I'm a great offender." And this was many, many years ago that he offended, but he never gave up his vow. Now, at the age 10, his father initiated him in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and also the Nrsimhadev mantra. And he started doing he started chanting very seriously. While he was in the school there, he was a very brilliant child. He invented certain kind of phonetic alphabets, and he called them Vikranti or Vikanto. So they are used for pronouncing things that are very hard to pronounce. Like if you look at our Bhagavad Gita, we have got transliteration. That is also a phonetic way of expressing things. Anyway, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur studied the Sanskrit grammar, and that is very important. Once you know the Sanskrit grammar, you can study the Vedic Shastras and philosophy and all that. He became really good at it. Also, something unique about Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was that he can remember anything that he had read. It doesn't even matter how long time ago, even 50 years ago, whatever he has written, whatever he has read, he could recall it word for word. And the reason for that was that he was a lifelong celibate. He practiced celibacy, and that's why his memory was really very clear. Whenever he went to college and he studied, he also went to library, and in the library he would read all the books. Now, that is quite a few books, even in those days. Nowadays, of course, it's quite much more larger volume of books are there. But he would read all the books in the library and would remember them. He liked especially the Vedic astronomy. He studied that. He liked higher mathematics, also international history and philosophy and all that. He was a very powerful debater. In school we debate, and he was very good because he was really very scholarly and he had a lot of erudite knowledge. At the age of 23, in 1897, he opened a school in Calcutta, and he called that school Sarvasvat Chatuspati. And what that school taught was actually Vedic astronomy. And he was the one who was leading that, teaching that class. He also wrote many things on astronomy. One of the work is Surya Siddhanta. And knowing how much he knew about astronomy and all that, he was offered a chair at the University of Calcutta by Sri Asutosh Mukherjee. So when you are offered a chair, it's an honor. It's an honor, and people normally take it. People will look upon you as a scholar. And he rejected it. He didn't accept that chair. Why? Because he thought that this chair or this adoration by other people and also the work that he would have to do and to prepare for all that, it's going to take time from his devotional life. So he rejected that chair. In 1901, when he was 27-year-old, his father asked him to go ahead and get initiation. Initiation from whom? Initiation from Srila Gaurakishore Das Babaji. And let's see if we can see his picture so that we know who that is. This is Gaurakishore Das Babaji. He was a disciple of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and very well liked, very knowledgeable, and so Bhaktivinoda Thakur wanted Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati to take initiation from him. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati went to Gaurkishore Das Babaji, asked that he would like to be his disciple. And Gaurkishore Das Babaji knew how erudite Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was, very well educated, very well known, and he thought that he cannot take him as his disciple because he felt that his student was very highly educated, and himself he considered that he doesn't even know how to write his name. So he refused to take him. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati goes to his father and tells him that Gaurkishore Das Babaji doesn't want to take me as his disciple. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur sends him again, saying that you have to take initiation from him. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati goes back to Gaurkishore Das Babaji and asks him again, and again Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji refused. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur goes back to his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and tells him that Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji doesn't want to take me as his disciple. Bhaktivinoda Thakur insisted that he must take initiation. So he told him that unless you take, and these are his words, unless you take initiation from Gaurkishore Das Babaji, your life is useless and no longer may you enter this house. So he gave him an ultimatum, unless you become a disciple of Gaurkishore Das Babaji, you will not enter this house. That was a pretty tough order. Anyway, so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati took those words seriously and went back to Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji. And this time he met him on the way there, on a bridge. And he decided that if Gaurkishore Das Babaji would not accept him, then he would just kill himself. So when he saw Gaurkishore Das Babaji, he told him that my father told me that human life is worthless without a spiritual master. So if you refuse to accept me as a disciple, I must kill myself. And so Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji thought about it, that this young person is very sincere, very serious, and so he accepted him. And he was the only disciple Gaurkishore Das Babaji had. Till he died, there was only one disciple, and that was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. After the initiation, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati traveled a lot with his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, at various places of pilgrimage. And also he lectured at various places where they went. And he was also writing and also debating everything. And everybody came to know that he is really good at what he's teaching. And the spiritual knowledge that he had was great. So his strong preaching gave him such a reputation that his very name would strike terror into the hearts of his philosophical adversaries. So philosophical adversaries usually would argue with him. But because he was such a good preacher, very strong preacher, they really were afraid of him. In 1911, there was a conference, an All India conference of Pandits, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur was invited, but it so happened that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's father, was sick. He became sick, so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati went in his place and he gave talks. And one of the items that he talked about was comparative position of a Brahmana and a Vaishnava. So there is a difference between a Brahmana and a Vaishnava. And so he gave a talk on that. Now, when we say Brahmana, in those days when he gave the talk, and even now, some of the people believe that you are a Brahmana only if you are born from a Brahmana family. So this talk that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati gave was on born Brahmanas, not educated Brahmanas, not spiritually educated, not. So there was a difference between those Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. And the talk was really very good. The president of the conference called him the other self of Sri Shukadeva Goswami. He was so good in preaching that he called him the other self of Sri Shukadeva Goswami. Again, Bhaktisiddhanta's purpose in life was how to convey this message of Lord Chaitanya everywhere. So he traveled to Bengal, he traveled to South India, and he wrote many books, he wrote many articles, and also he published them, he edited them and published them. Now, we know that Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada also did everything, writing, editing, printing, and distributing himself. So those were the times when only one person did everything. And so Bhaktisiddhanta was like that. It was possible to publish, somebody asked him that how can you publish so much about God? So many articles about God. And his reply was that there are so many journals and magazines, newspapers in this world, mainly talking about material things, repetitious reporting, and but if we write something about a permanent Purusha, that is Krishna, you can even publish every second of articles. So you are not limited only to a certain thing. You have unlimited amount because Krishna is unlimited. And so one can even write every second and publish papers about Krishna Lok, Vaikuntha, anything. So he was also very much impressed with how to propagate this knowledge of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he thought of establishing several printing presses. So the first one was Gaudiya Printing Works in Calcutta, established in 1923. Then Nadia Prakash Printing Work at Mayapur in 1928. Earlier to that, there was a Bhagavad Press in Krishnanagar that was set up back in 1940-15. And then in 1936, he also established a Paramarthi printing press in Chutak. All of these he established for what purpose? So that the knowledge that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had passed, and also the Sankirtan movement and the Vedic literature and all that would be available to common people. And he called these printing presses mridangas. Why? He called them mridangas because just as we heard how mridanga makes a lot of sound, these printing presses print out so many Vedic literatures, and they will be heard by all over the world in India. Uh, Before, in 1914, just about the time when his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, was about to leave his material body, uh, the Thakur thought that all this work should keep on going and talked with his son, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur went ahead and took over all the work that his father was doing. And there were so many articles, so many journals that he was publishing. There was one that was Sajjana Toshni that his father was publishing, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati took over that, and he later on changed the language to English language. Earlier it was in Bengali language, and he called that Sajjana Toshni journal. I called it to Harmonist, so he named it Harmonist. Now, at the age of 44, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati took sannyas. He was named Goswami Maharaj. He took the renounced order of life. And at the same day, when he got this sannyas, he also established a Chaitanya Math in Sridhar Mayapur. So it's like a temple, and he preached there, and many of the important people from the town came and attended. Now, this was the very first math that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati established. Before his death, 64 years later, he had already established 64 months before his departure, and all over India. Now there was no mutt outside India, and he would very much wanted to have a mutt outside India, like England or America. So most of the people in those days went to England. So he wanted to have a mutt in England, London. So he sent some of his disciples, and they went there, and they tried to see if anybody would like to convert themselves to become devotees of Lord Krishna. And of course, one of the many things is that you have to follow the 4 regulative principles. And so the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati told them that you should not eat meat, and should not have any alcohol and intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. And most of them said it is impossible. So they came back, and they couldn't make anyone devotee. So they couldn't establish a mutt there. He was, earlier I said, he was a very powerful preacher, and that's why he was called the Lion Guru. Now, one time, this is a occasion when a impersonalist Vedanta Society. Now remember, this is impersonalist Vedanta Society. They invited him. They invited Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati to come and give a class. So, but there was some condition. They put some condition that he could not use Srimad Bhagavatam as scriptural evidence. So he could not refer to Srimad Bhagavatam. So such and such a canto, such and such a chapter, such and such a... He cannot do that. And he agreed. He agreed to come to debate even without referring to Srimad Bhagavatam. And a little while later, the society called him again and said that he could not speak on Mahabharata, he could not speak on Ramayana or any of the Puranas or Pancharatras. He still agreed. In spite of all this, he agreed that, I will not refer to Mahabharata and Ramayana and other things. So he agreed to that condition also. Then later on, they called him again. They said that he could not use as evidence any of the Vedas, Upanishads, or Smriti texts. So this kind of covered a lot of Vedic literature. And they said that he could not use that as an evidence. He can speak from Vedanta Sutra. Now, Vedanta Sutra is the text that the impersonalists follow. And so this society, the impersonalist Vedanta Society, wanted him to talk from the Vedanta Sutra. And he agreed. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati agreed completely. So he agreed to not referring to Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, Ramayana, all these Vedic literatures. And then he agreed he would go ahead and preach from Vedanta Sutra. And so he agreed to that, and then they called him up. They called him up that you cannot speak, period. You are not invited. So the Impersonalist Vedanta Society then cancelled his invitation, their invitation. So that is an incident that kind of tells how powerful he was as far as preaching goes. And nobody, the opposite parties like the Impersonalists and the Mayavadis would not trust him. They cannot debate against him. Now, from 1919 to 1929, he was constantly traveling over India, lecturing to crowds of thousands, debating, destroying various bogus religious sects, and also performing parikramas at various places of pilgrimage. And during this travel, he installed footprints of Lord Chaitanya. How many places? 108. 108 places he installed the footprints of Lord Chaitanya, where Lord Chaitanya had traveled in those places. And at those spots, he also recorded the date when Sri Chaitanya had been there. So he was very particular about the details also. And he traveled a lot, and he did the parikramas and places of pilgrimage, and he lectured, and he also debated. Wherever Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would go, he was received as a savior. With this knowledge that he had of spiritual life, they considered him as a savior, a religious reviver. He was also known as a prophet. One thing different about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati when we compare him to his father Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and also when we compare him to Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati would be very forward and tell as it is. And so that's why people were afraid of him, that he would say things and we will not be able to do what he tells us. Now, what about Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada? They and Bhakti Vinod Thakur, both of them, they were very sad and very taken aback that the common people are not picking up this study of the spiritual literature, Vedic literature. One time Srila Prabhupada was having a morning walk with his disciples, and they were passing a golf course. And so people are playing golf, they are hitting the ball to put it in a hole some distance away. So Prabhupada asked his disciples, what are these people doing? And they said that, well, they are playing golf, and golf is a game where you hit the ball and to put it in a hole some far distance away. And Prabhupada started crying. He started crying because he felt that all these people are wasting their time. They could be chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and then go back to Godhead. Instead, they are just playing and wasting their time. So that's why he really felt it at heart that why these people are not picking up the science of Sankirtan. And so he really felt very bad about it, and that's why he cried. Prabhupada also cried when he saw that all his disciples, the Western disciples, were helping him to propagate the science of Sankirtan, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he, in his heart, believed that these people were sent, the Westerners were sent by his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And so he really was touched by that. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also was very sad when he saw that people are not picking up the Sankirtan movement. And he did not cry, but he felt very sad about the whole thing. Now, another incident that I want to go over is this Brahmanas. They are known as a caste Brahmanas because they are born within the Brahmana family. They didn't like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati because he was preaching against them. He was talking about you have to be a Brahmana by education, by learning the Vedic literatures and all that. You cannot become a Brahmana just by being born. It is just like, a doctor has a son and the son calls himself as a doctor, even though he has no education of a doctor. That is that kind of comparison. So a Brahmana must go through the Vedic literature education and then he becomes a Brahmana, not by birth. So these caste Brahmanas, they become very angry and they turned against him, and they when they wanted to kill Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and especially the Nityananda Vansha. These are the Nityananda, Nityananda's family members and the others who came along. They were against Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So all these Brahmanas, they went to the local police magistrate to bribe him so that he would not apprehend them when they go and kill Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And this police magistrate normally accepted bribes, and he would do whatever is necessary. But he said to these Brahmanas that he could not, they cannot bribe him because this involves killing a sadhu, and that is a no-no in his mind. So he cannot kill a holy man. So the Brahmanas went away. The police magistrate then informed Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and so the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was then saved. In 1930 to 31, again, remember that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is a person who would like to convey the message of Lord Chaitanya in so many different ways, printing, books, things like that. And then in 1931, he came up with another idea, and the idea was to have dioramas. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada demonstrated the import and teaching of the Vedic literature by means of huge exhibitions in which pictorial representation and then dioramas, dolls of life size, they were used. In many of these temples these days, you can find dioramas depicting the stories that took place. So these are the stories from Srimad Bhagavatam, and it is depicted with dioramas, and people see them, and they get connection that this is something that they need to get into. So how many people attended such things? That in fact in 1930-31, 100,000 visitors daily during a month period. That's a lot of people daily. 100,000 people attended this kind of dioramas. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he, in spite of his failing health, he still kept on preaching in spite of the fact that the doctors told him not to. So his whole life was absorbed in the mood of loving devotion to the Lord. This tendency of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to get involved so laboriously in printing and distributing the books and so on. Same thing, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada followed in his footsteps. So, we'll stop here for as far as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's glorification. And one time, Srila Prabhupada was asked if he could describe, because everybody knew about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Now, here is a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and they asked, can you describe your Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur? And the reply that Srila Prabhupada gave was that, what can I say? He was a Vaikuntha man. That was his reply. What can I say? He was a Vaikuntheswar man. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur on December 31st, 1936, in Jagannath Puri, at the age of 62, he left this mortal world and he entered into the loving pastimes of Shri Radha and Krishna in the sweetness of Brajadam, the spiritual atmosphere. And he serves as Nayana Mani Manjari there. So he was from Vaikuntha, and he was serving there Krishna and all the Vaikuntha people. So he went back there. Okay. This completes the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's life. And now we'll see if we have enough time to do the today's lecture on. And this is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 14. And let's see if we can project that onto the screen. the title is Process of Surrendering. Now, all this talk about getting Krishna conscious, following the footsteps of previous acharyas, the Sankirtan movement, all this is a process of surrendering. And this is the talk that I have prepared. And this is chapter 7, verse 14, and it says, Devi Yesha Gunamai Mama Maya Jagatyaya Mame Vaye Prapatyante Maya Mitam Taranti. And the translation is that this divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily go beyond it. And we will not repeat because of the shortage of time. I will go ahead and read the purport by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, regarding this particular verse. Says the Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies are divine. Although the living entities are part of His energies and are therefore divine, due to contact with material energy, their original superior power is covered. So that's why we are conditioned people. Being thus covered by material energy, one cannot possibly overcome its influence. So the material energy has a lot of influence on us, and that's why it's very hard for us to get into spiritual life. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual natures, being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal. The living entities belong to the eternal superior nature of the Lord, but due to contamination by the inferior nature is the matter or material. The illusion is also eternal. So our illusion is eternal because of we belong to the same nature as Supreme Personality of Godhead, but it is the inferior nature. The conditioned soul is therefore called Nityabadha, eternally conditioned. And it is very hard to get out of this Nityabadha state because we are eternally bound. So we really need a guru to instruct us how to get out of this bound state. Although Maya is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead. Maya is also energy of Krishna. And so who is the magician, super magician? It is Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Who is Maheshwar, the supreme controller. And another meaning of guna is rope. He is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly bound by ropes of illusion. So it goes on, and I'll read just a little last portion of this purport that says that the word Mama Eva are also significant. Mama means unto Krishna, Vishnu only, and not Brahma or Shiva. So when you become a devotee, you want to be a devotee of Krishna, not Brahma or Lord Shiva. Now, although Brahma and Shiva, as Prabhupada mentions, are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnations of Rajogo, that is Brahma, and Tamogo, which is Lord Shiva, to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is the master of Maya. Therefore, he alone can give release to the conditioned soul. So, the conclusion of this purport is that when you become engaged in the service of Lord Krishna, that is needed, not in the service of Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma. So, let's see. when the word surrender comes, we don't like it. It says the meaning, the dictionary meaning is that cease resistance to an enemy or opponent and submit to their authority. Surrender implies giving up after a struggle to retain or resist. We don't like to surrender. So, there is, why do we not like being surrendered? There are three reasons. Here are the three big things that get in the way of surrender. First of all, we don't have the knowledge, lack of knowledge. So we insist that what we have is correct and what you are telling me is incorrect. So we are very set in our own ways. And also we are impatient. We give up this, give up that, and do this and do that. So we are very impatient. We want things to be fixed right away, not take time. And also we want things to be pain-free. So fasting on Ekadashi and also not taking intoxicants, not eating meat and all this. Many people consider that to be painful, to give up. So these are the three reasons why we don't like being surrendered. Now, there are 6 divisions of surrender, and that is that one who is fully surrendered. This is from, by the way, this is from Haribhakti Vilas. Anukulasya sankalpaha pratikulasya varjanam rakshishyate chi vishvaso gopatritve varnam tatha atma nikshepa karpanye sadavida sharanagatihi. The 6 divisions of surrender are the acceptance of those things favorable to devotional service, the rejection of unfavorable things, the conviction that Krishna will give protection, the acceptance of the Lord as one of guardian or master, full self-surrender and humility. So, in the purport, Prabhupada writes that one who is fully surrendered is qualified with the characteristic that the devotee has to accept everything that is favorable for rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord. Number 2, he must reject everything that is unfavorable to the Lord's service. This is also called renunciation. Third, a devotee must be firmly convinced that Krishna will give him protection. Now, this is the thing that we always think that I need to be protected. I need so and so to come with me so that I will be protected. But a devotee must have a firm conviction that he is protected by Krishna. No one else can actually give one protection. And being firmly convinced of this is called faith. So here is the definition of faith, that being firmly convinced that Krishna is going to protect him, Krishna is going to help him, Krishna is going to solve his problem. That is faith. This kind of faith is different from the faith of an impersonalist. This is Prabhupada's words. What is the difference? The impersonalist wants to merge into the Brahman effulgence in order to benefit. What kind of benefit do they want? They want to stop from repeated birth and death. That is what they want. They don't want to serve Krishna. They want that I don't want to be born again because I'm going through so much suffering. So their desire is to stop taking birth and death. So that is what they desire, the impersonalists. While the devotees, they always want to serve Krishna. And by serving Krishna, they are automatically guaranteed freedom. Or moksha. So it says the devotee wants to remain always in the Lord's service. In this way, Krishna is merciful to his devotee and gives him all protection from the dangers found on the path of devotional service. The fourth item is the devotee should accept Krishna as his supreme maintainer and master. So you don't worry about where is my next meal coming from. Krishna is maintaining. He is maintaining the birds and beasts and everyone. They get food every day. So one has to, a devotee accepts Krishna as his supreme maintainer and master. He should not think that he is being protected by demigod. He should depend only on Krishna, considering him the only protector. So we have Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, the two brothers who started this Sankirtan movement after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then they were thought of where am I going to get my next meal. They kept on writing and reading and they were supplied. Krishna supplied them with food. The devotee must be firmly convinced that within the three worlds are the upper, middle, and lower. He has no protector or maintainer other than Krishna. So one has to have really good conviction that Krishna is the one who is going to support and maintain them. Self-surrender means remembering that one's activities and desires are not independent, which means that you do not think about what you want what Krishna wants, and that is how you satisfy. So your desires are not independent. The devotee is completely dependent on Krishna, and he acts and thinks as Krishna desires. So the devotee is meek and humble also. These are the reasons why one has to surrender to Krishna and always depend on Krishna. There are some examples given in Chaitanya Charitamrita from the Madhya Lila, chapter 10, verse 32. There is a Kashi Mishra, and just the word, it says that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at his house, at Kashi Mishra's place, Kashi Mishra immediately fell down at his lotus feet and surrendered himself and all his possessions. Remember, not just himself, but all his possessions. Everything was surrendered. Another example was Bhavanand Rai, who was the father of Ramananda Rai, and he surrendered. How did he surrender? He says, appreciating Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's favor, Bhavananda Rai also said, along with my home, riches, servants, and 5 sons, I surrender myself at your lotus feet. So it is always everything that belongs to you, everything is surrender. So how Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that this is the process of surrender. As Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur sings, Manasa Deha Geha Yo Kichu Bora Arpinu Toya Pade Nandakishore. Nandakishore is Krishna. So when one surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Lord, he does so with everything in his possession. His house, his body, his mind, and whatever else he possesses. If there is and Prabhupada is making it clear, if there is any obstruction to this surrendering process, if there is an obstruction, if you don't like to do this, surrendering everything, then why? Then whatever comes, one should immediately give it up when something gets in the way. He said if there is any obstruction to this surrendering process, and he says that if one can surrender with all his family members, there is no need to take sannyas. However, if the surrendering process is hampered by so-called family members, one should immediately give them up to complete the surrendering process. So if the family members are against it, then he can leave and become a sannyasi. Now, there is this other verse, which is the last in the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where it says that Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshishyami ma shuchaha. And the meaning is that abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. So here the word Sharanam Vraja, Sharanam. This was the Sanskrit word Sharanam means refuge, shelter, or sanctuary. So we are taking refuge of Lord Krishna. So even though it is called surrender, but what you are doing is you are taking the shelter of Lord Krishna. And one has to, the Lord has described various kinds of knowledge and processes of religion. This is the purport that Prabhupada is giving about this verse, chapter 18, verse 66, that knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, knowledge of the Super Soul, knowledge of different types of orders and statuses of social life, all this Krishna explained to Arjuna. Knowledge of the renounced order of life, knowledge of the non-attachment, sense and mind control, all of these things. Now Krishna is telling that forget about all this. He says that the Lord says that Arjuna should give up all the processes that have been explained to him. He should simply surrender to Krishna. That surrender will save him from all kinds of sinful reactions. But the Lord personally promises to protect him. So this is the thing. Krishna will protect you. It is not like Krishna is an enemy and you are surrendering to him. No, you are becoming under his protection. And so this process is really good. One should go ahead and accept him. I don't know how much time I have, but there is a story about Kala Krishna that I would like to narrate. This is when you do not follow your instructions and you are careless, and what can happen. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to go to South India on a trip, on pilgrimage, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, one of his disciples, and other disciples also told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you should take some people with you to help you, some of the disciples. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused completely. He said, no, I don't want to have anyone with me. I'm going to go alone. And they kept on insisting that you would have to carry your water pot, you have to carry your clothes, all these things. A person will help you. And so they found a person, a devotee. His name is Kala Krishnadas. And so Kala Krishnadas and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed that he will, okay, let him come, just one person. So Lord Krishna, after visiting Kanyakumari, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Amritala, where he saw the deity of Sri Ramachandra. Thereafter he went to the place known as Manaradesh, where a community of Bhattadharis lived. Srila Prabhupada in the purport writes, who are these Bhattadharis? As far as the Bhattadharis are concerned, they are a nomadic community. They camp anywhere and everywhere. They like and have no fixed place of residence. Outwardly, they take up the dress of sannyasis. Outwardly, they dress themselves as sannyasis. But inwardly, they are not sannyasis. But their real business is stealing and cheating. They allure others to supply women for their camp, and they cheat many women and keep them within their community. And this way, they increase their population. And Prabhupada continues saying that in Bengal also, there is a similar community. Actually, all over the world, there are nomadic communities whose business is simply to allure, cheat, and steal innocent women. And we also hear in the US on the news about this human trafficking. That is the same thing. Okay, now continuing with this Krishnadas. So Krishnadas went to this community, the Bhattatharis. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that he was going there, and he but he followed him. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was accompanied by his servant Krishnadas. He was a Brahmana, very innocent looking, very gentle, and the Bhattatharis with women allured the Brahmana Krishnadas, Kala Krishnadas, and then they took him in. Allured by the Bhattatharis, Krishnadas went to that place early in the morning. The Lord also went there very quickly just to find him. What we learn from this is that Kala Krishnadas should not have fallen into this trap. He should have refused to go. Allured by the Bhattatharis, Krishnadas went to their place early in the morning, and upon reaching their community, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked the Bhattatharis, "Why are you keeping my Brahman as assistant? I am in the renounced order of life, and so are you." They are also sannyasis, that's what he's telling. Actually, they are not, but he's telling them, "Yet you are purposefully giving me pain, and I do not see any good logic in this." So he asked them to give him back Kala Krishnadas, and the Bhattatharis refused, and they all came around with weapons to kill Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got hold of Kala Krishnadas, and he was about to leave when these people attacked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But the weapons actually did not hurt Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but the weapons turned on them, Bhattatharis, and many of them were hurt, and many of them were killed, and so they ran away. So afterwards, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought Kala Krishnadas back to his camp, and then he came back to the other disciples, and he told Bhattacharya, who is the one who insisted that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should have an assistant to go with him. He told him that, "Look at this person. He left my company to associate with Bhattatharis, but I rescued him from their company and brought him here. Now that I have brought him here, I am asking him to leave. Now he can go wherever he likes, for I am no longer responsible for him." So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling the Bhattacharya that it is your responsibility, you take care of him. Anyway, this was an example of how one can fall in a trap if one is not very careful. So we'll end here, and I don't know if we have any time for questions. So, okay. Thank you very much for listening. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Balaji Prabhu, for that absolutely wonderful class and introducing everyone to those who are not familiar with, especially to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's life was full of instructions and how it was full of inspiration as well. And then, of course, speaking about the importance of surrender from